Do you want to be part of something bigger? At Siemens, we use AI to transform the everyday. Our engineering solutions drive innovation and change. We're leading in technology and building a sustainable future. Join Siemens and make an impact to transform the everyday. Apply now and be part of something extraordinary. Visit siemens.co.in/careers.
This is Sid and Friends in the morning.
For my friends.
77 WABC.
A person I watch on television all the time. I'm not supposed to say this. Usually it's the end of your career, but she's beautiful. Elizabeth Pipko. That's the end of my career as a politician. It's true. Thank you. You do a great job on television defending all of the things that are going on. And thank you. Great job you did.
Gotta admit, that was one of my favorite moments yesterday, sitting in that beautiful room at Bedminster. You know, there was a press conference outside. That's what most of you watched. It's hot. It's on Newsmax. You all watched it. There's a lot of people there, a lot of press. But then they had something inside, much more intimate, a lot less people, just the real power Jews. And it was nice. They had Miriam Adelson, you know, the great Sheldon Adelson's wife. He passed away. He was a great man. She was terrific. They had some rabbi speak to and his kid. And they got to Trump, and Trump started thanking everybody. And the longest thank you, the longest one, was Liz. He was adamant about how great she is, and it made me really happy. Then he got to me, and he thought I was Siggy Flicker's husband. Can't even make it up. At the end, I walked up to him, I shook his hand. He was very nice. I said, Mr. President, I look like Michael, but I'm Sid. He said, oh, my God, Sid, you look great. I don't know, you look great. But he really went over the top with you. How exciting was that? You didn't expect that, did you?
I did not expect that. No, it doesn't happen all the time,
Look
right?
how happy you are.
I mean, it was nice. It was nothing Darren ever says will compete with Donald Trump saying you're beautiful, you know? So,
who said that?
I said
that.
anything.
No, Darren said that.
No, nothing Darren ever says can compete with that, right?
What about when I call you beautiful? I call you beautiful all the time.
You're better than Darren, but you're still not Donald Trump, you know?
I know, but Darren's still third. That's horrible. He's your husband. No, I get it. Trump was, he was very nice to you, and he was great. You know, look, I'm having this conversation over and over again. I'm sure it's boring people, but it is in the news, right? This is what they're talking about. That's all the Democrats talk about. When the Democrats talk about it, we shouldn't. Very simple. Look at my hands. When the Democrats, I'm actually becoming him. When the Democrats talk about it, we shouldn't. That's it, okay? So Democrats go on and on about he's got to be nicer and he shouldn't call Kamala names. We shouldn't talk about that. But we talk about that too. And all of my friends and all of my Republican buddies who are voting for Trump, mind you, voting for him, say the same thing. He's got to be nicer. He's got to, blah, blah, blah. I don't believe that's true. And I think that people tend to lie and exaggerate when they talk about what he does. They'll go, he got bogged down. He speaks for 2 minutes about Kamala being stupid and then gives you 15 minutes of real policy. What's wrong with that?
It's complicated because I think, like you said, everything's overblown that he says. I would not support him if I thought anything he said was, crazy, out of line or outlandish or anything else. But like you said, no matter what he says, they're going to make it something different. They're going to make it something worse.
But why are we doing that? Why are Republicans doing that? Why are Trump supporters? If I hear one more Trump, I go, well, who are you voting for? Trump. Well, then what do you care? I don't know. Well, because I don't want him to lose.
Yeah, I think people are scared of what it takes to sway those in the middle. I believe that the policies are so bad.
You think there's a lot of people in the middle right now? You think 2 months out?
I genuinely do. I think this administration has failed people that didn't expect it. I think people did not think it was going to get as bad as it did. both around the world when we're talking foreign policy and in our country, safety and security, the economy. People are suffering and they're confused as to how it got this bad in 3.5 years.
Okay, great. So if you're right,
I'm right.
And you probably are, and they're running away from that party because of the policies.
Yeah.
You think they give a rat's ass if Trump calls Kamala stupid?
That's the problem. I unfortunately think people do. I think we're very privileged in our country. We've never dealt, at least in modern American history, with severe problems. People are talking about World War III on the rise. People don't even know what that means because they don't study their history, and we're so lucky in this country. We don't think about things like that. So I think people have the privilege to think about how mean their politicians are when in reality right now the policies are all that matter because we are actually on the brink of World War III. So I think it's a problem because people don't realize that none of the words mean anything. The policies are all that matters because things are actually that bad now.
And how mean is he really?
He's
if he calls
mean.
Kamala stupid, they call him a rapist.
They call him Hitler for 8 years.
Right. They still call him Hitler. They call him a rapist, which is factually incorrect.
And by the way, they say horrible things about you and me and everyone that supports him as well.
No,
the way
that's
they've
true.
gone after his supporters is more disgusting than anything he's ever said about any politician.
That's true. And his kids.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't find a better bunch of kids. All 5 of them. True, you know, you love them. You're tied with all of them. Most of them. So it's unbelievable how he would get criticized for calling her stupid or not black when they say things about him. Kamala says it. Kamala, that are so horrendous, but for some reason we expect him to be above that. Right? I don't. I'm a Brooklyn guy. He's a Queens guy. He's been the same way for 10 years. That's him. You know, now, do I think he'd be saying that if they didn't pick on him? Maybe.
I don't. I really don't.
Okay, so if you're right, then he even has more reason to do exactly what he does.
I think anyone that has studied the election cycle and has studied this entire Donald Trump as a politician, the last 8 years of Donald Trump, would 100% agree with you and me that what they've put him through is absolutely insane, and he has the right to defend himself and talk this way always.
Okay,
but there's people in the middle. There's
me.
new people. I always agree with you. But there's new people. There's people that are surprised by what's going on that are on the fence.
Yeah.
And when the media blows out of proportion every single thing he says to try to scare them from voting for policies that are actually better than them, we have a serious problem on our hands.
But you know he's not going to stop.
I want him to be Donald Trump. I don't want him to stop.
Thank you. Let Trump be Trump.
I just think we're in a great position because the policies are so bad. Just let him speak for themselves. He doesn't even have to tell people how bad these policies are, how dumb they are.
You're right.
Because people know.
You're right.
That's all. But I always think let Trump be Trump.
That's it. That's it. He's not going to be any different. Like, I argued with O'Reilly yesterday for 10 minutes, not because I disagree with Bill, right? Ideally, if he remained on topic and was all that terrific, great, okay? DeSantis can do the same thing. But there's a reason why Ron doesn't win and Trump does, because of Trump's personality.
Exactly, 100%.
And when Trump, says to Ted Cruz, Lion Ted puts his hand on the Bible, when he refers to Marco Rubio as Little Hands Marco, when he does what he says, people like that. That's part of the package. And he's just not going to change because he's going to come to the realization that, oh, my God, if I say a little less, I may win. In fact, I'll tell you something else. I think he amps it up. Now, that may not be smart, but that's him. So the question becomes, when do you just throw in your full support, let the Democrats criticize him, and just let Trump be Trump?
I would just say for anyone genuinely on the fence, do your own research, because nothing that you're going to read in the headlines about what Donald Trump says or does is going to be accurate. And your life is on the line. The people writing the stories, the people at the very top, their lives are not going to change no matter who wins. They really aren't, except for them crying about Donald Trump.
That's true.
Your life is actually going to change, and don't let yourself fall for a headline and ruin your own life and the safety of your own family because you were scared to vote for a man who they called mean.
True. Now, you're on the inside. You don't admit it. You come off very humble. I'm the cute kid in New York. I'm back and forth to Florida. Darren, I ice skate, blah, blah, blah. Got a lot of power. You're a very dangerous woman.
That's what they say.
So, what really goes on. So when the media goes, listen, his people on the inside, they're freaking out. They're going nuts. They're telling him every day, hey, Donnie, hey, baby, stop. I believe some of that is probably true. I even believe maybe our friends, Eric and Laura, may have said once in a while, hey, Dad, maybe. But I don't think it's nearly as much as the media makes it out to be. And I don't think he cares. What do you think?
It's complicated again because people might freak out because they want him to win that badly, and so much is on the line, and we have every right to panic with 81 days to go to one of the biggest elections to ever happen in American history. So yeah, I'd say people are nervous, but people are also excited because we're getting closer to Election Day, and he's probably going to be president again, and I think that's great for all of us. But
well, you would admit, though, that you say probably that you were a lot more confident a month ago when it was Biden and not Harris.
I will say I was extremely confident when it was Joe Biden. I don't think people realize we don't even know who he's running against just yet. She's been on the ticket for a few weeks. I've never heard her speak. I don't think anyone disagrees with that. I have Democrat friends asking me when they're going to hear from her because they have not heard not only the candidate, but the vice president of the United States. They haven't heard her speak.
Right,
so
right.
I don't think the race has really begun. I think when we see that debate, when we see her speak for the first time, when we see Tim Walz up against J.D. Vance, that's when the race will really start. And we might even get more confident than we were against Joe Biden.
Right. She speaks today in North Carolina. She's going to talk about the economy and steal all of Trump's policies.
But she's doing rallies.
Yeah.
She's not sitting down for an interview.
No,
she has yet to sit down for it.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right. So she's got one coming up, I think, with Stephanopoulos. That's going to be softball.
That's basically me and you sitting here right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So September 10th, he gets to kill her. And then October 1st, Vance and Walz. This guy, Walz, I got to tell you, I was in the airport in Florida. I was stuck. You remember that day?
I told you get stuck and you didn't believe me.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
You did. You actually
I
gave
said
me
you're
the
not going to get out.
You cursed me.
No, I warned you and you didn't listen.
I didn't listen. 13 hours sitting outside of boat campers in Fort Lauderdale. I went to eat there 6 times. I swear to God, in one day. And the news broke about Walz. And Danielle showed me an article. She goes, it says he's pro-Israel. I read it. He voted with Israel a lot. And then I said, but wait a second. Scroll down to the bottom of this. There's a picture of him and Ilhan Omar. Mm-hmm. Now, since then, we come to find that he's hanging out with Muslim clerics who hate the Jews.
It's not Muslim clerics. It's Muslim clerics who talk about the Holocaust being great and celebrate on October 7th.
And a teacher that loves Hitler. Right. So this guy, Tim Walz, Lizzie, he's a bad guy.
Horrible.
Bad guy.
Absolutely horrible. Worst pick that I could have ever imagined for them. I'm
going to be honest with you.
Baffled.
I don't think people love J.D. Vance. I'm being honest.
People as in Republicans or Americans?
Some, even New York Republicans, they were nervous because of his abortion stance, all that. J.D. Vance has never looked better since she picked Tim Walz. Is that a fair statement?
It's 1,000% fair, and I think that debate is going to be incredible because the contrast between the two of them being on full display is going to be incredible for us. That's the best advertising we can get. I am baffled that Tim Walz is the pick. Truly baffled. I didn't know, first of all, who this man was. So reading his policies, I'm baffled that he's a governor in our country, number one, and B, baffled that they thought this was a good pick when he is so much further left than the majority of this country. He says anti-Semitic things, supports these anti-Semitic monsters. I mean, loves apparently socialism and communism. I don't understand where this man came from and why they think this is going to sway those in the middle, but it's up to us to remind people of everything he has said and done because they're not going to report on it like they do on every statement Donald Trump makes.
Now, what is your friend's name again?
Jane.
Jane I met last night. And does Jane work for the party like you do?
I work for Steve Bannon.
Oh, you work for Steve Bannon?
Yeah.
He's in prison.
He is.
When is he coming home? I miss my friend Steve.
So he had a 4-month sentence.
4 months, right. So he's in the, yeah. Well, okay, so I do miss Steve Bannon. I like Steve Bannon. Okay, you work with Steve. Great. When you see him, give him my regards. I'm sure he's being kept up to date on all this stuff. Right? Do you guys ever talk to him in prison? Let him know what's going on?
Yeah, he's in touch with...
Good.
With our team and
Good.
everything.
All right, super. What is next now for Trump? What's our next big event? What do we got?
He has a rally tomorrow.
Yeah.
He doesn't stop, as you know. He truly doesn't stop. Yesterday during the press conference, followed up by that event you and I were at with him doing this rally tomorrow. This is the opposite of what we're seeing from Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I just hope people are realizing that because it's not even about the stamina and energy to do it. It's about believing you owe that to the American people. He believes that. Kamala Harris doesn't. That's the problem. You can disagree on policies, but she thinks she doesn't owe you answers. And that is disgusting. The Democrat Party in general thinks that they are owed votes, and I just disagree with that wholeheartedly.
In the final minute, I want to thank you, too, because this event last night, this is the Jewish Voices, Coalition, Jewish Voices for Trump. And you invited me, and some guy, Martin Marks, ended up calling me because of you. He's a great guy, Marty, don't get me wrong, but it's all because of you. And to sit out there last night with you and Siggy and Stella and Michelle and Lizzie and Emily and all these great, good-looking people. Republicans are much better looking than Democrats, too. It was an amazing experience, and I was really happy to be there, and you made that possible. So thank you very much. Thank you. That meant a lot to me.
No, I'm glad you were there. We have some really special people in general supporting Donald Trump right now and kind of on this side. But I also have gotten very lucky having friends like Jane and like you, Linda, who was there last night, who I love, Siggy, who's incredible, Sheila,
Linda,
all these
the
people.
columnist?
Yeah, Linda.
Oh, I love Sadaka.
I think she's listening right now. She's one of my favorite people on the planet.
She wrote the story about Ava being doxxed.
I know.
I love her.
She's probably one of the best people I've met since coming into
great.
politics. I adore her. And I didn't think that I would make better friends in politics than before, outside of politics. It's crazy because politics is as dirty as it is, but I've met some of the most special people in the entire world, like Jane sitting next to me, like you, like Linda. Truly, I am blessed because of this job, and I'm very lucky to know all of you, and I'm excited for what we're going to do on November 5th and after that.
Me too. And we're blessed to have you. You're a special, special person. You're a great person. That's Liz Pipko, folks. She's the face of the RNC, and what a great face that is.